fellow flows, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about situationships. So I'm really excited, yes, this is not a thumbs up by the way, but I am really excited about this topic because if you are following me on Instagram, then you know that last week I did a poll asking, have you ever been involved in a situationship? So the answers were fairly high. We got an 80% yes. So a lot of people had been involved in situationships. So I decided, why not make a video on it? So I spoke to everyone that had responded yes, and I asked them how they got into a situationship, how they felt emotionally, and what they thought a situationship was. So this video is based on their answers, but not only that, I broke it down into 3 different categories. There can obviously be more, but these are the 3 categories that I thought would be helpful to you guys. So I broke it down into emotional, historical, and current issues. There's 5 aspects altogether, but we will get into that as soon as we start. Before we do start, I do want to talk about my oils because you guys have been asking me about the different oils that I use. So I thought I would integrate it into my video. So here is On Guard. This smells so good, guys. There's cinnamon in it. Whew, it smells so good. So this is good for killing pathogens and germs. Y'all know how I like to keep my body clean. So I do that. I don't like getting sick. I don't even think I got sick in the last year. Usually I at least get sick once a year, but nothing. So that's why. Next, I love lemon. If you have been watching my Bursting with Energy workshop, then you know that I integrate it into my water. This week and today, I have been drinking it with warm water, and I feel like it passes so much better. It makes me feel so good in the morning. Instead of a tea, I just have this with warm water. So good. So it detoxes my liver and my kidney. Vetiver, I love this one. It is an immunostimulant. I rub it on my chest with coconut oil. I feel like it makes me feel good. It gets me in touch with my feminine side, and it's like a little massage for myself. So I love this one. And the last one that I used today was rosemary. So rosemary is good for cognition, focus, but also good for cancer prevention. So I rubbed this on my hands this morning, and it smells really good. It smells really earthy, really tree. For those of you that cook with rosemary, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's even more potent. So I like to work with the best. So these are 100% pure. If you guys do want to talk oils, let me know. Write in the comment section, and I would love to answer your questions. I also have my incense here, so let's light it up. Honeysuckle, it smells so good, and I want to be enjoying myself while we're doing this video. I'm trying out this new concept, guys, so let's go all the way in. And there we go. We have our honeysuckle lick. Honeysuckle suckle. It's perfect for situationships because y'all want to go get your honey. All right, so let us begin. You will be seeing me looking down at my computer because I do have my notes here. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything, especially the little facts that I went to check for the historical side of it. So don't mind me if I'm looking down. So can we all agree that nobody ever thrives in a negative environment, right? When you're in a negative environment, you don't really get that chance to bloom and grow to your full potential. I'm not saying that you can't grow. You can obviously grow. We have all been in negative situations where we grew through that, but we're not at our best when we're in a negative environment. We do best when we feel supported. We do best when we feel encouraged. We do best when we're clear about where we're going, when we understand what is happening around us. And so the main question that I want you guys to ask yourself during this video is, do you feel encouraged and supported with the situationships that you're in? Remember, relationships are a reflection of you. So ask yourself, what are you learning through this relationship? Because yes, a situationship is a relationship. It's past sex buddy and under relationship. It's that space in that middle, the gray area where nothing is clear, where we can kind of feel positive one moment, negative in another moment. So ask yourself, do I feel supported in this relationship? What am I learning about myself in this situationship? That is the main question for this video. All right, let's begin, guys. I'm excited to get started. So we're going to be talking about the emotional side of it. And again, guys, I'm going to be asking you so many questions this video, but bear with me because it all connects together. So what is the most intimate part of you that you can give another being? Is it your mind? Is it your body? Or is it your heart? Okay, I really want you guys to think about that. Is that your mind, your thoughts, your mindset, your personality? Is it your heart? Or is it your body? Now, if you guys picked one over the other, then no. There is no division between the three. Whatever happens to your body, it affects your heart, and it sends signals to your mind, your thoughts. Your thoughts begin to reflect on it. Whatever happens in your mind, it sends signals to your body, and it affects your heart. Whatever happens to your heart, it gets you reflecting, and it sends signals to your body. So the three can't be separated, because what happens to one affects the others. Yet in situationships, we try to divide the three. We try to give our body without giving our heart, or without giving reflection or thinking about the other person. We try to have an enjoyable moment, but a temporary enjoyable moment. But enjoyable moments, they affect the heart. They have you thinking all day, oh my gosh, I had some good ass sex tonight. You got flashbacks, your mind is on it, or you're relieved, so you're more productive. So it affects all aspects of you. Now, being aware of that, you need to be able to take control of the discussion of having a situationship before it becomes a situationship. I also want to put a timeline on situationship, guys. A situationship must be over 1 month. Okay, so you guys get an idea of whether you're in one or not. It has to be over 1 month, and I'm going to be reading to you a little in a bit, like in 2 seconds, answers that I received from other people. Ooh, I didn't even open up let me open up the answers, because I don't have it open yet. So give me a second, guys. So even the moment you actually decide to have a sex buddy, you should also decide to have a discussion about what may or may not happen. So I want to give you guys an example, because at first I thought that it was the guy's responsibility to bring this discussion up. But no, the moment you have a sex buddy, you're responsible, you're giving consent, you're responsible for your own body, guys. Women, I'm sorry, it's not up to the man to make, because I have a lot of female friends that think it's up to the man to take control of the relationship, of the situationship, of the intimacy, that it's up to them to decide what the boundaries are. But no, why are you giving the power to another being, right? You have to be in control of your body. You have to be in control of your speech. You have to be clear with what you want. That's up to you. That's not up to the man, and vice versa. So let me tell you guys the different answers that I received based on situationship. I want to open it up next to each other so I can just go instead of. All right, so the first one. A situationship, this is a girl, by the way. A situationship is somewhere where you guys are talking. You may be exclusive. You like each other, kind of like boyfriend and girlfriend, but there's no labels. So you don't understand what you are. It is pure confusion. I got into one because I fell madly in love. I thought I found the one. He was amazing. I was crazy for him, and I wanted to wait. I stayed because the energy was good, the relationship was good, but realistically, once it was over, I realized that the relationship was trash. It affected me emotionally because it was great when he was around. I could understand him. But when he wasn't around, it was pure emotional destruction. There was lack of motivation. I was slightly depressed. I was sad. I was confused. And I was basically always alone. So that was a girl. I want you guys to let me know if you relate to that, if that's accurate for you. But the answers were pretty much very similar, guys. So, let's open, because I'm going to be reading 4 to you guys. So you guys can kind of get an idea of what everybody said. Next is a guy. And I really appreciated his answer because I felt like it was realistic. So before you love someone, you need to love yourself. You need to be in a relationship with yourself. And as you evolve, there is change. One day I could know why. The next, maybe I won't know why. So I live in the moment. I'm real with myself and I'm prepared with what it means to be in the situationship. I don't take things for granted. What I mean by that is that it could last 2 days, but I always do the maximum to be my best. I always do my maximum to be happy. For me personally, situationships help me learn. I take them as they are. So it is a funny answer, but I like the realism in it. He actually, because I asked him a little more questions on that, so he has the discussion beforehand. He is really clear about what he's going into. And I have spoken to several men that are very clear about what they're going to in the beginning, expecting it to stay the same. But for men specifically, I say you can be clear about that situation and expect it to stay the same, but don't expect it to stay the same. Be clear and expect it to change. That way you can act accordingly. So, a guy again, guys. Here's what a man said. A situationship for me is when someone says, I'm talking to someone. Y'all know when somebody says, I'm talking to him. We're talking. You guys know that. That's a situationship for me. When you know you're not friends, you're kissing and all that. Wink, wink. But you don't know what you're really doing. Questions like, should you wait? Should you chase? Communicate more? Sometimes even even I, don't know what to do. And of course, the most common answer, let's go with the flow. How many of you guys said that in a situationship? Let's go with the flow. This honeysuckle smells so good. Y'all missing out. So it depends on the situations. Sometimes you're fine with it. It depends on the situationship, sorry. Sometimes you're fine with it, and sometimes you want more and you're not fine with it. In the last case, when you're not fine with it, it's a weird feeling. You want more and you want out at the same time. Should you stay or should you move on? Should you stay? Should you go? You're constantly in the two states. Oh, and you're also thinking a lot about your worth and self-respect. All of those things. So it's not just women. I want to emphasize that it's not just women that think about their self-worth and their self-respect. Men also think about that. Don't be so focused on yourself that you kind of you neglect what the person in front of you is also going through. Because it takes two to tango. But at the same time, you want to understand the other person. It's either you save yourself or you wait for someone to save you. I really appreciated his answer too because that was really real. It's either you save yourself or you wait for someone to save you. And that can be really difficult at times. Okay, so, and we got our last girl. I'm only going to do 4 or else this is going to be a long ass video, guys. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. Oh, no, that's not the beginning of her answer. Okay. Oh. Scroll too high. A situationship to me is, so this is female, is when you are seeing someone with no commitment in particular. It can be with one or several people. For me, it was a long-term friends with benefit situation, which is how most situationships begin. It was all good in the beginning. We were sleeping together, having fun, literally no strings attached. Then eventually I started to get attached. It affected me emotionally because I realized I wanted more and he didn't. It ended and now we're cool, but situationships are not for me. I did find myself in another one, yes, but I can't fully take the blame. See, women also sometimes want to put the blame on somebody else. And I get it, but I don't get it because you're in control of your body, and I really want to emphasize that in this video. So I still got attached, I guess, but I had no expectations from him. I learned that rejection isn't as bad as I thought it was, and just living in the moment, not overthinking it, really helped. I overthought it, then one day I was just like, wait, this is deja vu. He doesn't want anything, so just let it go. Have fun. If you decide to sleep with him, don't guilt over it, and try to remain open to other people. So those are the 4 answers that I had for you guys. I hope they gave you guys can agree or disagree. If you do disagree, put it in the comment section as to why. But those are what they were going through with their experience. So you can't really disagree with their experience of it. But can they have handled it better? Yes, that's for sure. Even they feel like they could have handled it better. Because as we know, situationship is that little confusion. So what I want to talk about emotionally is that you bring your heart into this. You bring your mind into a situationship. So it's very important to have the discussion beforehand. I know a lot of you think it's embarrassing, but what is the most intimate part of yourself? Again, all those three. The body. Would you rather give your body without giving it thought? That means you're unbalanced, right? If you're giving your body without giving it thought, without even assuming that you may fall madly in love, as one of the girls said, you may fall madly in love. Do you want to fall madly in love and be like, what the hell happened? No, you want to prepare yourself. Just as you use condoms because you don't want to get pregnant, or use contraception, or you use patches, whatever you use to avoid getting pregnant, you want to do the same thing for your heart. You want to make sure that you avoid being in a situationship that isn't ideal for you. And falling in love with your sex buddy is not really ideal unless you're trying to manipulate him. And for women, this is for you specifically, because I know women personally who have tried to use sex as manipulation, and it doesn't work. You are playing games, and you can't be taken seriously when you are playing games. So it has to be clear from the beginning what you want. Have the discussion beforehand. I am open to a relationship. I am looking for someone, but I'm also horny. So if you want to just have sex for a month, put a timeline on it. Let's have sex for a month and, give it some time. If we do feel like we're chilling, and if you guys do feel like you have some feelings for each other, then date. Go on a date 1 or 2 times. Like, go on a date and then have sex. If you see that, okay, no, I wouldn't want to be with this person, but the sex is good, put a timeline on it. Protect yourself, okay? Or do not get in situationships at all if you feel like you get emotionally attached. You don't want to attach yourself to being after being after being just because you're horny. Protect yourself. Find other ways to get your fix. Okay? So learning to have the discussion beforehand. Oh, I also did want to emphasize, guys, that out of the 20 responders, there was only one happy couple. So we're going to go over that at the end of I'm going to read her story at the end of the video. So be aware of what you are investing your time in. Playing games isn't going to get you what you want. There are bare savages out here, like we know, women and men. So that brings me to my last point of being emotional, which is the most important part of the emotional aspect. Vulnerability. As I asked in the beginning, what is the most intimate thing you could give about yourself? Body falls under there. So vulnerability. What does it mean to be vulnerable, right? And this is, you guys can go watch the video on Brene Brown, her TED Talks on vulnerability. She breaks it down so beautifully. You guys really, I found that video maybe 5 years ago, and I probably watch it every year just to have a refresher on what vulnerability means for me and what it can bring into my life. So I'm going to read you guys the definition that she gives, right? So what does it mean to fully embrace vulnerability? Because this is what I want you guys to embrace before you go into a situationship. It is necessary because it is the willingness to do something when there are no guarantees. And that's exactly what a sex buddy is. There are no guarantees where this is going to go. The only guarantee is that you get laid. So you're going into something without guarantees. It is the core. You're going into something new. You're going into the unknown. So there is fear. There is struggle for worthiness, self-respect, as one of our responders says. It's the core of shame. But all those feelings, what do they birth? They birth joy. They birth happiness. They birth release. They birth creativity. They birth belonging. But you can't allow that into your life if you're not clear about what you're doing. If you're not clear about what you're going into. So is this a one-night stand? If it's a one-night stand, bye-bye. But if it's a situationship, then there's an issue. There's something that's not being discussed, or there's something that you or the other person is not sharing, and that needs to be sat down, looked at, and said, this is what I want. Don't be ashamed of what you want, because you came here to get what you want. You came here to get this body. So what else do you want? Say it loud and clear. Moan it loud and clear. Okay? So stop pretending like everything is okay when it is not. That is the emotional aspect of situationship. So hope that was clear, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section and we will get into the historical aspect of it. So why I went into the historical aspect of it, because we are the most free women, I'm going to say women, but also the most free humans in history, based on the history books we've read that are available to us. So we are the freest with our body, with what we do with our time, with what we do with our resources. We are the most free. And women have the same rights as anybody else. That's what happened in 1960s with the liberal movement, right? The liberal women's movement. But I feel like it has been a little bit lost in translation what that movement was about. That movement was about getting equal choice for women, right? Equal choice to do what they wanted to do with their mind, body, and heart, spirit, right? So what they wanted to be able to do with what decisions they wanted to be able to take, who they wanted to be able to vote for, what they wanted to smoke. It was just equal choice. But in today's generation, when I look at my friends, when I look at my parents, when I look at, and when I mean parents, I mean like the older generation, so my aunts, uncles, my friends' parents, aunts, uncles, there is this desire to be equal to men. And I don't know what that's about. I really don't get it, because men and women are not equal. You just see it biologically. One can have a period, one can't. One never has a period, right? So I don't really understand. Already biologically, we're not the same. Emotionally, we process things differently. Life experience, we are all different. Women are different from one another. So I don't see how it's possible for a whole gender to be equal to a whole other gender when they can't even be equal to each other. So I want to really get that clear, because why I'm bringing this up is because nowadays there are fewer and fewer virgins, right? So women have decided that they want their body to, because men have always kind of been liberal with their body, not as much as today, but there's always been more of a leniency with the way men use their body, right? And now there's that same leniency with women. But the thing is, only 5%, excuse me, I had some good lunch. But only 5% of women are going into marriage, okay? 5% of women are going into marriage virgins. So there's this experience that comes with it. And with that choice to be lenient and free with our bodies, relationships have gotten more complicated than they've ever been historically. People are not staying together as much. The divorce rate is about 50%. So we can see that there's a big tear in relationships. And this has nothing to do with virginity, by the way, guys, that I want to emphasize that. It has more to do, the studies show that it has more to do with how people see relationships, how serious people take relationships, how serious females take relationships, because bottom line, women have access to, they give access to sex, they are the ones that open their legs, and men have access to relationships. They're the ones that get on one leg and propose. And that's why I'm bringing this into historically. I'm going to even go before the 1960s in a bit, but I want you guys to understand that people are taking relationships less and less serious. We have seen this, we have studied this over the last 50 to 60, maybe even before that year. So if you guys want to go check the facts, go do your own research. But this generation takes relationships less seriously, and they're more prone to leave if there's a problem. Now, that's in relationships. So you see how relationships are complicated? So now imagine in a situationship how much misunderstanding happens. how many miscommunication already happens in a relationship. I can talk from experience, because my relationship, there has been miscommunication, but we have learned to sit down and communicate, and we have learned to sit down and overcome that. We have learned to be clear. We have learned to put the shame, the fear, the vulnerability in the forefront, and say what it is that we really want. And that's in a relationship setting. So think of how much more you need to be clear, how much more communicative you got to be in a situationship, because you don't want to end up in a situation where things are complicated and you feel lonely, and it impacts your health, it impacts your career, it impacts your spirituality, it impacts whatever is going on, whatever area that in your life, but it impacts something else because you weren't able to be clear about what you wanted, right? So that's why I'm bringing up the seriousness of relationships, because you need to be serious that this situationship, you have no idea where it is going. So if you have no idea where it is going, and you want to be serious about having sex, or you want to be serious about making this person your partner, or you want to be serious about going on a date about this person, you need to be clear about that. You need to have that discussion with yourself, and you need to have that discussion with yourself, because at the end of the day, women fought for choice, and we have choice now. Men have always had choice. So you're two adults, because I'm assuming you guys are adults. Everyone that I spoke to was an adult. So you're two adults that know exactly what you want in life, that you're striving for what you want in life, that you're getting up every day and you're doing what you got to do to survive or thrive. Watch my Survive or Thrive video, but survive or thrive. And you can't do that if you're in a situation that is not benefiting you, that is not supporting you, that is not encouraging you to be able to develop through this situation. So I'm not saying don't go have sex. Go have sex if that's what you want. Go have sex if you can handle it. Go have sex if it doesn't impact the rest of your life. But don't put yourself in a situation purposefully if you can't handle it. And that's what I mean historically. So now let's go reverse past the 1960s. What is the oldest female job historically? Prostitution. Women have always had that choice. Well, prostitutes have always had the choice to give up their body for something else in return. They have decided, I want money in return, so I'm going to give up my body. They don't involve their feelings. It can be draining. It can be exhausting, but they know how to overcome that. They know how to... I feel like it's even more difficult to be a prostitute now than it was back in the day because of all the addictions that are available. We're the most medicated, we're the most obese, we're the most addicted humans historically. So it gets a little bit more complicated to do jobs like that when you don't really understand what you're doing. But historically, before the 1960s, women knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were getting in return. I'm not calling you guys, okay. Just in case, I'm not calling you guys prostitutes. Oh my gosh, that just came into my mind. I was like, whoa. Because I'm guessing you guys are not getting money in return anyways, and you really have to be getting money in return to be a prostitute. I'm just telling you guys, be aware of the choices that you're making. And I'm not removing myself, in case you guys want to attack me, I'm not removing myself from this. I actually have never been in a situationship, I'm not even going to lie, because I don't think it's smart to be having sex with someone more than a month. And if you are having sex with somebody more than a month, then I feel like you should be really clear about, this is going nowhere. I don't want anything from you. You better not want anything from me. And that's it. And if that happens, we stop. We have rules. And that's what I wanted to talk about, the liberal women, but also the prostitute. There's rules to protect them. They have their own rules because the state doesn't really have, the province, the country doesn't really have laws to protect prostitutes because it is illegal. But they have their own way to protect themselves. So you also have your own way to protect your heart, to protect your mind. All right. So that was the liberal women. What else historically? So I have another aspect historically that I wanted to go over, and that is less faith. People have less faith in a higher being, in a higher purpose, which leads to having less faith in self. And why do I say, what is the connection between the two? Is that we don't believe in, I'm not including myself in that because I believe in a higher being, but we believe there's more atheists around, right? So we don't believe in fate. We don't believe in destiny. We don't believe that there's an external force helping us get to where we want to go, that is sending us messages, that is sending us signals that you got this, you can do this, keep on going, I got you. There's less faith in that, which makes us less confident, less trustworthy, and more controlling on ourselves. But what do we know about humans? Humans are imperfect. Humans make mistakes. Think of babies, think of children. How many times they fall and they need to get back up, and they need to find what's stable for them, but they need to find their foundation. They need to understand this didn't work, this worked, I got to change it here. In companies, we got to see evaluations to see what's got to change, what gets to stay, because we make mistakes. That's why we're analytical, so that we can repair our mistakes, right? So the fact that we're less trusting, less believers in an external force, it means that we have to control everything that happens in our life. Are you able to control everything that happens in your life? How many times have you gotten frustrated because you weren't able to control something in your life? I know I have gotten so frustrated a lot of times because something didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. I get a lot of surprises, so I plan my days. But I've been less prone to plan my days because I get so many surprises in one day. So I just have to find those 3 things that I can do in a day and then act accordingly, because nothing really ever happens the way we want it to happen. And that's what you need to know about situationships. Nothing ever happens the exact way that you want it to happen. We are prone to mistakes. We make mistakes. We fall in love. We fall out of love. That's just how it happens. So the fact that we have less faith in external forces, puts that control on us. The fact that we make mistakes, we have less faith in ourselves, which reflects onto other people, the situationships that we're having. So we also have less faith in others, in other humans. Because automatically, if you don't trust yourself, then you don't trust the other person in front of you. What does that lead to? Paranoia. And it also leads to trying to accumulate safety, okay? Trying to feel good, a little bit selfish, if I could say that, but a little bit selfish. So we need to be able to be confident in our actions, in our mind. And that's why I talk about choice and responsibility, guys, because if you know what you're going into, if you know how you're going to respond to the situation, then you have more confidence going into the situation. And you have more confidence in coming out of the situationship intact. So far we've gone over 3 things: the emotional aspect, how mind, body, and heart are connected, how to protect it and be aware, use your condom around your heart. We've also talked about the liberal woman, choice, where this stemmed, having equal choice, but not being equal to man. So being ready as a woman, also as a man, because it is vice versa, but being ready as a woman to do what it takes to get what you want in a safe environment. And also faith, having more faith in self so that you can be confident in doing what you need to do, having the discussions that you need to have, and being open to vulnerability. So that was 3 current issues. And why I want to bring this into the discussion is because what is the number one, not the number one, but what is one of the major reasons for divorce? And I bring relationships into this discussion because in situationships, you need to be learning from relationships. Not only relationships, you need to be learning from one night stands because you're in the middle of that. So you got to be looking at everybody so that you can get out of the situationship intact, right? Or not intact, but in a way that you can handle it. So the biggest reasons for relationship failures is finances. So why am I talking about finances in a situationship? Because what do finances mean to you? What do finances mean to me? What do finances mean to us? It means security. It means firmness. It means stability. It means I got everything that I need. That's why people strive for money, because they want to be secure. So there is more money than there has ever been historically in the world, but people are feeling less and less secure with themselves. As I said before, people have become more selfish. They no longer want to grow together. They kind of want to get what they need to get and move on. And that's why I brought it into situationships, because you want to get what you need and then secure yourself, secure your orgasm, secure your pleasure, and then go on into the world to find someone that's on your level. And that's why we kind of end up in situationships, because we haven't found the one that we want to spend the rest of our life with, but we still want to get our fix. Why? Because we're selfish and we want to get our fix, because we want to get our fix and we're free with our body, so why not? So we've learned to treat people, to use people for our own security. And that can really be an issue with situationships, because you need to understand why you're going into this, right? So you know how I had the discussion, I said have a discussion beforehand in case something happens during the situationship. This current issue is that I'm talking about right now, finances, but it's more security. The current issue of security that I'm talking about is know why you want a situationship. Is it because you're lonely? Is it because you're horny? Is it because you're bored? Because that does happen. Is it because there's a pandemic? So why are you going into the situationship? Because if you're bored, then you probably don't like feeling bored. You probably feel like insecure shit. There's nothing to do. I got nothing to do. I'm at home reflecting. Da, 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 da. For those of you that went and learned something new during the pandemic, kudos to you. Bravo to you. But if we're bored, we want to have that sense of adventure. We want to have that sense of newness. We want to have that sense of we are doing something. So going into a situationship does give that sense. I'm like, okay, I'm not bored. I feel good now. I feel like I can go see my sex buddy whenever I want. Pardon. If it is loneliness, again, you want to have a warm body beside you, even though it might not be the body that you want to be with for the next few months, the next few years, the lifetime. So it's that security of your selfish needs, your own needs. You're not really thinking about the person in front of you. You're thinking about your own security. Okay, so yeah. So, sorry, because I love you. You're thinking of your own security. So if you're going into a situationship and that's your way of treating people, then don't expect to get treated any better. Don't expect that this man is going to fall in love with you because you came, or woman, because I'm probably, or woman is going to fall in love with you because you came into this with an alternative, with an alternative desire. That's it. Because it can be that you're just horny and you want to get a fix. But usually we get into situationships not only... Okay, let me think about all the people. So I'm thinking of all the people that have answered. Let's go back to their answers. Why did they get into a situationship? Most of them just ended up in it. Let us not even play. Most of them just ended up in it by accident. Okay, if you guys decided beforehand, because the discussion is about deciding beforehand whether you want to be in a situationship. If you're ending up in one by accident, then you're going with the flow and it just happens. Then you need to have that conversation after, right? Because you probably were looking for a situationship or a sex buddy. But if you are looking for a sex buddy because one of those 4 aspects that I brought up is an issue, so you're like, okay, I want to get my fill, then you need to be thinking about how are you treating this person and can you not be treated How would you like it if somebody treated you that same way? How would you like it if this person, you caught feelings and this person started treating you that way, right? It wouldn't be really nice, right? So I want to give one example of the people that answered the poll. I actually know her story. So what happened with her was there was a guy chasing her for years. She said, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to date. He's not my type. Then they started working together, and she became interested. She was like, yeah, you know what? He's kind of cute. We could do something here. So she slept over, mind you. I believe, but that's personal opinion. Anyways, that doesn't matter. But she ended up at this place late, and shit happened. And so they became sex buddies, started having sex, happy, getting her fill, everything's good. And eventually she starts to catch feelings, okay? But this is somebody that she rejected several times, okay? So now she's catching feelings, and she's feeling ashamed because he has asked her on a date, but she had continuously said no. And now she was catching feelings, and she wanted to go on a date. She didn't know what to do. She was like, shit, he's probably laughing at me. His friends are laughing at me. She started playing all these little things in her head. So she was just trying to use him to get something out of it. She didn't think of, what if I fall in love with him? And that's what I want you guys to be clear with in this video. What if I fall in love with her? If I fall in love with him? What happens in that case? So that's why I love the answer that the first guy that I read to you guys said, because do your best to be happy. Do your best to not take this moment for granted. And then you may just get what you want. I advised her to ask him on a date, but she was too ashamed to. She was too shaken up to, so she didn't. And I don't blame her, and I don't blame him if he had said no, because he was rejected several times. And now you got this big dick energy, and all of a sudden you're desirable. So for him, it's not really cool. And for her, you're kind of a fool. I'm sorry, I just wanted to rhyme. Alright, so that was for security, guys. Our last aspect that I wanted to go over was social norm versus what I really want. Social media! You guys know how much I love to talk about social media on my channel because it plays into everything. So it's kind of like comparing yourself to a bunch of people that are faking their life on a screen. Imagine I started comparing myself to everybody that I watch TV. That's basically what you're doing. So every movie or every show that I watch, I started comparing myself to that person. That is what we do with social media. We tend to think because we know this person, and it's even worse if you know this person because you know this person's true colors. But if you don't know this person, then it becomes like an idol. But we know that they're actors. We know that they're setting us up to consume. So social norm versus what I really want. If you see all these sexy women, provocative women, saying how they're so good in bed, saying how they can get any man they want, saying how they can get this D and then go and be a wife after, then obviously the next generation, and especially for men, because I have been seeing this for men a lot as well, especially on my social media, more and more men are realizing, damn, this is there's a certain lifestyle, fast life that is being shown to me on social media, that I can get bitches, I can get money, I can get pussy. I'm sorry for my language, guys, but I'm really trying to put you in that everything that you guys see on social media. And they're like, I can get that too. I can get that too. And plus I'm in Montreal, so there's so many beautiful people in Montreal, so like, I can get that too. And you're projecting your ideals. You're projecting the best version of what you see into the real world. And that is not at all how the world works, guys. And most of the time, it's not even in alignment with what you really want. Most people, they want to brag about it. But they want to brag about it because they want attention. So they want attention because they want to be told, oh, toi tu. Sorry, I'm dying. I'm thinking of stuff men have said around me and I'm dying. So they're like, yeah, that's what you do. Oh, look at you, boy. They hype each other up. Girls hype each other up. They're like, oh, you got that, man. Get it, girl. Drop it. Twerk it. Go home with him. Blah, 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 blah. And we project this ideal of what the world is. But when you look at relationships, that's not what it is. People want love. People want security. People want stability. That is why most relationships are not working out, because people are so quick to give up on what they have and go look for something else. And that's what we're doing with social media. We know there's this, so let's say in a relationship, there's this other person that's here that you can really try to understand, that you can go to counseling with, that you can learn with, that you can explore with, that you can do all that, you can be clear about what you want with them. That's why you married them in the first place, unless it was a forced marriage. In that case, you can still even go to therapy then. But then there's this big world with all these people, especially when you're in Montreal or you're in one of these sexy cities, then you know that there's a bunch of people that could potentially be the one. But they're not all the one, guys. Not all of them is the one. Some of them, yes, you're going to get your fill, you're going to get your dick sucked, you're going to get your cooch licked, whatever it is. But they're not going to make you dinner. They're not going to sit with you and give you the love and attention that you want. And that is ideally how a situationship blooms. There's more that you want, but you're not getting. You get frustrated, you get confused, you lose faith in self, you lose faith in your decisions, you're no longer sure what to do. You go to social media, you see all these girls that are breaking it down, you see all these men that are holding it down, and you're like, nah, I can handle this, I can handle this man, I can handle this woman, so I'm gonna keep doing what I do. But it's not really what you want. So social norm versus what I really want, you need to make a list. I love lists, so you can make a list. I'll put it in. So you can make a list. Social norm, what I'm looking at, what society is telling me is normal, what my generation is telling me that is normal, and then you go into what I want. Is this what I want? Check. Yeah, I want a baddie. Why do I want a baddie? I want a baddie because I'm going to get the attention. Why do I want attention? I want attention because I want to show people that I am ... So you don't really want a body. You want to show people that you're ... So what I really want, I want to show people that I'm ... And that's what you go do. You don't end up in a situationship. See? So I hope you guys are getting it. So social norm versus what I really want. I just want to have sex. I'm going through school, I'm working, I need a way to relieve my stress, and I feel like the best way to do that would be sex. Okay? Now you can look at what does sex mean to me? And then depending on how, I love doing that exercise with my clients. Oh my gosh, I had a male client that was really into like situationships, so it was really, really exciting. Anyways, so what does sex mean to me? Does it mean intimacy? Does it mean freedom of body? Whatever it means to you, then you look back at, is this what I really want? Do I really want to be having sex with this person? Check. Yes, I do. I can handle it. If I fall in love, this is what I'm gonna do. And basically, that is it for our discussion on situationships. Social norm versus what I really want. Security, which I coined finances. Liberal woman choice. Less faith, so growing that faith in self. And emotional vulnerability to be able to have the willingness to go into a situationship where there are no guarantees. Be courageous, guys. Be courageous. If you can't be courageous, don't have sex. That's really what it is. So hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. Let me know what you guys thought. It was really long, but I think we covered major points. And yeah, I almost forgot to read you the happy ending situationship. So 1 out of 20, guys, is really, really low. So this is not a hope story where I'm telling you your situationship is gonna go and turn into a happy ending. This is just an awareness so that you guys can see that it does happen, but that it's so rare that it's not something that you can put your hopes on. Okay, so this person actually did write a story about it. I know her personally, but she did write a story about it because she felt like she needed to relieve and express herself, and she felt really blessed. And it is something to be to feel like is a blessing. Your situationship turned into something that was a blessing, and that does happen. So I wanted to give a sense of appreciation to that, but I also wanted you guys to realize that it is rare. Okay, so 8 years ago we started as friend with benefits. At that time, and mind you, this was 8 years ago. Please, guys, don't do this to yourself. Okay, 8 years ago we started as friends with benefits. At that time, he didn't stay in Montreal. We were only seeing each other on the weekends. The friend with benefits agreement, they had an agreement, so at least you know they were clear about it. The friends with benefits agreement was perfect until he decided to relocate to Montreal. That's when we started seeing each other more and more. The agreement changed to situationship real quick. So her definition of situationship is let's just chill, have sex, and be confused on the fact that we are not together but have official emotions for each other. Okay. After 3 years, they were in a situationship, or they were sex buddies situationship for 3 years. After 3 years, we got both caught up and the situationship was starting to be toxic. So we went our separate ways. I was for sure still in love with him, and vice versa, I guess. But because look at us now. So now they're after 2 years of not seeing each other, she literally left Montreal because it had gotten toxic to that point. After 2 years of not seeing each other or talking to each other, we decided to rekindle our love and make our relationship fully exclusive. Since then, I've gotten pregnant with twins, and I've been the happiest woman ever. I prayed for this a lot. I prayed a lot for this relationship to work out. I asked the Lord for the restoration so that our relationship is founded on a good foundation, and especially so that he can be the master of our lives. I would be forever grateful to God because he answered my prayer. I will forever be grateful to God because he answered my prayer. It's all because of his grace. So she actually gave her situationship up to God. She gave it up to a external force, and she was like, you know what? I want to be with this guy. Here are my worries. Here are my stress. Do with it what you will. So they made the decision to be exclusive, and now they are together. And mind you guys, this is ongoing, right? This doesn't mean happily ever after. It means happy now. So we don't know where it is going. I wish you guys the best of luck. I honestly do, because they are close friends. But it is, again, rare. So be mindful of what you're getting yourself into.